There is a moment in the footage where it looks directly at the camera. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't blink. It just stands there, perfectly still, wearing Daniel's face, Daniel's clothes, Daniel's exact posture. At 2:43 in the morning. The problem is, Daniel was inside. He had proof. His phone's screen-on log showed activity at 2:42 a.m. He was scrolling in bed. He never left that room. And yet, something that looked exactly like him was standing outside his front door. Daniel installed the camera 3 weeks ago. Not because of a specific incident, just a feeling. He described it as a few restless nights. The kind of unease that doesn't have a name, but lives somewhere behind your sternum, right where your breath catches when the house is too quiet. He lives alone. Mid-floor apartment. Front door opens directly onto a shared corridor, which feeds into a single stairwell. He knew everyone who had access to that hallway, or thought he did. The camera was mounted at 2.1 meters, angled down at roughly 15 degrees. Wide lens. Good night resolution. He tested it himself. He knows what it looks like when it catches him coming home late, keys in hand, face tired. He knows what he looks like on that footage, which is exactly why what he saw at 2:43 a.m. made him feel like the floor had fallen away. The notification came in at 2:43 and 14 seconds. Motion detected. He was already awake, had been for a while, lying in the dark with his phone, the way people do when sleep won't come and the mind won't stop. He tapped the notification. The live feed loaded, and there, framed in the gray-green haze of night vision, was himself. Same jacket, the dark one he'd worn that afternoon, which was currently hanging on the back of his bedroom chair. Same height, same build. Same way of standing slightly off-center, which is a thing Daniel does, apparently, that he'd never even noticed about himself until he saw someone else doing it. He thought, immediately, glitch, cached frame, some timestamp error looping old footage. He'd read about that happening. Then the figure tilted its head, not like a person adjusting their posture, not like someone hearing a sound. It was slower than that. Deliberate in the way that a mechanical thing is deliberate, precise past the point of comfort. And then, without warning, without provocation, it smiled. Daniel was not smiling. He was staring at his phone with his stomach turning over. But the thing outside his door, wearing his face, smiled anyway, as if it already knew something he didn't. He got up. He walked to the front door. He didn't open it. Some instinct told him not to. But he pressed his face to the peephole. The corridor was empty. He looked back at his phone. The feed was still live. The figure was still there. Two realities, running in parallel. An empty hallway, and a live camera feed showing something standing in that same hallway. Something that could not be seen with naked eyes. On the screen, the figure raised its hand. Slow, deliberate, the same mechanical precision as the head tilt. It raised its hand, and it knocked on the door. 3 times. Daniel saw it happen on the feed before he heard anything. Then, a half-second later, the knocking came. Except it wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from behind him. He turned around slowly, the way you do when every part of your body is already certain it does not want to see what's there. And his bedroom door was open. Not all the way. Just enough. Just a crack. Just enough for the darkness inside to be a different quality of darkness than the rest of the room. And something was moving in it. His phone slipped from his hand. It hit the floor, screen down. In the fraction of a second before the screen went dark, he saw the live feed one last time. The figure outside was gone. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He sat on the floor with his back against the wall and waited for morning. At first light, he pulled up the full footage archive from the camera's cloud storage. He went through every clip from that night, timestamp by timestamp. And for hours, nothing. An empty corridor. Motion triggers from a passing moth at 11:51 p.m. Stillness everywhere else. Until 2:44 a.m. At 2:44 a.m., 30 seconds after the motion alert that brought Daniel to his front door, the camera captured one final event. His front door. Opening. From the inside. Slowly. No one coming out. Just the door, swinging open into the corridor on its own. And then the footage ends. The clip simply stops, as if the camera decided it had recorded enough. Daniel confirmed 3 things after the fact. His door was locked, the deadbolt was thrown, and the chain, which he always hooks before bed, was still in place the next morning. The door had not physically opened, but the recording says it did. Folklore from dozens of cultures has a name for what Daniel described. The Germans called it a doppelganger, literally, a double walker. A precise copy of a living person, seen in places that person cannot be. In most of these traditions, encountering your own double is not a curiosity. It's a warning. Daniel has since moved out of that apartment. He didn't tell the new tenants why. He didn't know how to explain it without sounding like he'd lost his mind. What he does know is this: he never found an explanation. Not a technical one, not a rational one. The footage showed something that should not have been possible, and then erased itself before anyone else could look closely enough. Whatever was standing at his door at 2:43 a.m., it was not a glitch. It was not a reflection. It was wearing his face, and it already knew how to get inside.